A trade recap then of the gold move today. And let's just go through the process. There is a methodical way in which my system is designed to approach the market and allow for us to identify rinse and repeat setups during certain windows, time periods, in other words, of the sessions. Now, I trade New York, and therefore, what I'm using is the Wall Street opening range between 9:30 and 10 a.m. That's my opening range for Wall Street. There are some strategies out there that will use the first 5 minutes of Wall Street, which create a high and low, and they will trade on the outside of either the high or low, depending on the rules of the strategy. But generally, a breakout to the upside would be taken and a breakout to the downside. A 15-minute opening range is also popular. I like to use the 30-minute. The 30-minute gives us more information. Often the market will go one way and then the other way within the half an hour. So trading a 5-minute or 15-minute can be a bit premature in my experience. So 30-minute opening range, which is, as you can see, this box here. So you've got 9:30 opening, there's the low, closing as we come into a new timing rotation at 10 a.m. and there's the high. So you've got the low and the high. And we've got the TrendPredator Pro giving us our direction. So if we just back up to the breakout, excuse me, we have the London high as the trigger. When we cross that London high on a 15-minute closing basis, this indicators to the second, but on a 15-minute close above that high, you'll see here, if I just go down to a 5-minute chart, it may or may not give the signal because I don't know if we're above the London high at this point. No, we're not. Let's go forward one. Okay, now we are. So being above that London high, we've got a 1-star quality bullish signal due to the days being overstretched, 3L, standing for 3 consecutive days of breakout to the upside, potentially requiring a pullback. So it was a trade taken with caution. But this is directly out of the playbook that I've put together, which is out there in the TrendPredator channel on our server at FXStreet. And I'll just bring it across. So this is one of the setups. There are a few that I've highlighted, but this is a pre-opening range coil whereby the market has dumped ahead of the open, it's coiled, and then it's bursting higher. So the coil, so it's a breakout of the coil in a bullish environment, as you can see by the TrendPredator Pro. And we're above the multi-session VWAPs. We are above the EMA and so on. So there's plenty going on here which is bullish. And that's essentially what we had today. We had a market that dumped into the closing price in this respect. And so there was additional conviction that the closing price was acting as support. We could see that earlier on in the day. I mean, I'll go to the overall picture in a second, but so there's the coil. You'll see it better on a 5-minute chart. So we've got the coil, and we're breaking out of the coil above the multi-session VWAPs, above the 20 EMA, and we're breaking out of the highs. Everything's all rather bullish. And the confirmation was the breakout above the London high. On the day itself, so now we zoom out to the day itself. How was it looking? Well, by the time we got into the trade, we were looking for a parabolic session trade, once again in the playbook. Here it is here. Peak formation high, peak formation low, Asia, London taking out the low of Asia. There's the high, and this is New York. It can either be taken from inside of the London box, so long as we're above the Asian low, or taken from the outside of the London high, and off she goes. Okay, so that's the parabolic session. How is the day set up scenario? And here it is here. Asia, London. We can either take it from inside of the Asian low. So let me just box it so it's nice and clear. Wanted it to be all that color. Okay, Asian session, London session, creating a high and low to work from. And I don't trade until 10 a.m., so there was nothing to do for me until then, or 10 a.m. and after. We had major red news as well today, 10 a.m. But in any case, it can be taken from above the the Asian lows, so inside of the London range. But there was nothing really to do here because you had all of the VWAPs and the 20 EMA in the way. We still had Wall Street open to wait for. We had the major red news at 10 a.m. So just being patient, and that gave us a coil into the opening range. Then we broke out through the VWAPs from London and Asia on the good side of the 20 EMA, which is the white line. And that's our setup. Parabolic session, coil into the opening range at the lows of the near enough the day, supported by the closing price, and off she goes. And overall, we've got this nice move up, so dump and pump. So on a 4-hour basis, we can zoom out and we can see, if I turn off the TrendPredator highlighter, it might be a bit clearer. We'll leave it on, in fact. And what we'll do is we'll get rid of the TrendPredator Pro for the moment. It's a bit of a cleaner chart to see this from. Let's get rid of all the drawings as well. You've got this impulse correction continuation. Impulse correction continuation. Breaking out of the highs from yesterday. So dump and pump. Okay, back to the 15-minute chart. So at that point, I mean, I'm actually, when I'm trading, I'm looking at a series of time frames, looking for confluence across multiple time frames. So I'm looking at the hourly chart. Well, I was actually zooming out, looking at the 4-hour chart for this trade, but usually I'm just bringing it down to one hour. You can see the market there breaking out of a coil. Over here on the 30-minute chart, Not much in the way different to what we can see on the 15-minute, but nevertheless we have a peak formation high, peak formation low. That can be seen on the 15-minute chart as well. Peak formation high, peak formation low, coiling inside. The baton was passed over to the bulls at this point. You had this nice bullish reversal candle, not the best because it closed with a wick, but nonetheless, it's an inside bar, and then on the outside of the inside bar, you're bullish. We had a fake out low at the start of Wall Street of the previous candle over here, which was bullish, and then we broke outside of this wicked bar, and then the continuation. The first target was the 100% range expansion of the Wall Street opening range, and noting that we had this fake out low bar, which is bullish, for a continuation, which is why we held on to that for a 200% range expansion. So partial profits taken at first target and then continuing up to our final target. Okay, so that's the trade recap for gold. As I said, all of this here is in the TrendPredator channel on FXStreet's premium service server in Discord. All of it there. And this was a textbook trade that worked out beautifully for 3 hours, well, more than 3 hours, in fact, 3.5 hours.